Hello again and welcome to another edition of Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. My name is Doug Smith and our special guest today is Tom Kenworthy. Tom is the Assistant Superintendent of the Portsmouth School Department. Tom, welcome back again.
Thank you.
Our topic today is senior projects at the high school. And I wonder if you could just explain what senior projects are and how they fit into the overall high school curriculum.
Sure. So senior project is, first of all, the main thing is it's a graduation requirement. So any student who graduates from Portsmouth High School has to complete a senior project. And it's not just a requirement at Portsmouth High School. It's a very typical requirement across the state. It is one of what are known as proficiency-based graduation requirements. So every high school has to have 2 of 3 different options in place. So there's the senior project, which we're talking about today. There's also an option for students to collect their key pieces of work throughout their high school career in what's called a student portfolio, which in this day and age is digitized in a lot of schools, and then do a presentation on that at some point at the end of their high school career. So Portsmouth doesn't have that one, but some other schools do. And the third piece, which we do have at Portsmouth High School, is the comprehensive course assessment. So that's for any course that's a graduation requirement that every student would take in common. So like in, let's say, Algebra 2 as a math class or a biology class, there are the same common assessments that are given through the course that students have to pass. So again, there's 2 of those 3 are required for proficiency-based requirements in the state. Portsmouth High School, we have the CCAs, or the Comprehensive Course Assessment, and the Senior Project, which is really this culminating piece for
Yeah, it's kind of like
seniors.
the capstone requirement. It makes a lot of sense. I can see where the completion of a good senior project would be very important for students. How long have we had this requirement?
So back to about 2008, that was the first year that, as part of Rhode Island's graduation requirements, which now have gone through a few different variations, and there's another one coming that they're finessing as we speak at the Department of Education. But 2008 was the first year that, again, of those 3 requirements that I mentioned, schools had to have that in place. And I believe at Portsmouth High School, as in most schools, there was a little bit of a build-up, for a few years prior to that to get students ready, for that first senior class that had to complete it. So, and the one thing is that through all the different variations of the graduation requirements, and with this next one coming, these proficiency-based requirements have stayed. So I don't see senior project or any of these proficiency-based requirements going away. I think this will be a well-ingrained piece of what students will continue to have to do.
Yeah, and I think people need to know this is like a year-long almost project, or a year-long project.
It is definitely a year-long, and in many students' cases, there's work that happens even prior to that. Definitely this summer between the junior and senior year is a key point for most students who are going to be seniors next year, where they're really starting to focus and get ready for what their project topic is going to be.
Yeah, so they essentially start now, or just a few weeks ago,
Right.
I guess, to get this ready.
Yeah, most do.
We're going to be hearing from a student that's got one shortly, but students, I know, require mentors to help them get through this thing.
Yes.
What do the mentors do, and what kind of qualifications do you need to be a mentor?
So mentors are the key part of all of this. They're going to they're obviously have to be adults over the age of 18. Some sort of expertise or can provide guidance in the field that the student is doing. Something related to what the student's doing their project in. Cannot be a family member. Cannot be a member of the Portsmouth educational community at the high school. So it has to be somebody outside the high school that students connect
hopefully
with.
Hopefully with expertise in the area, perhaps.
Exactly.
Now, do students also have faculty that they can talk to throughout the project?
Yeah, so two key people here would be the student's advisor. So we have an advisory program where students stay connected to one adult in the building throughout their 4 years, and definitely senior project topics are probably a big part of discussion as students making their way up to senior year. And then in the case of Portsmouth High School, as in most high schools that have this requirement, the senior year English teacher. A lot of the the kind of finessing of the project. There's a research component to it. Those steps would be completed through the student's senior year English class. So that senior year English teacher is a critical piece. There are also so in most schools that have this requirement, there's a coordinator, there's a staff member who is designated as part of their duties to help coordinate this whole process. That's actually split at Portsmouth High School between two faculty members, Dave Ennis and Vicky Hathaway, and so they play a critical role in helping make sure that students are completing all the steps along the way.
We actually, a couple weeks ago, filmed one of your senior projects down at the high school. And it was really great. It was all about not paying attention while you're driving, and it was very effective. I thought.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more interesting ones that I've seen.
Yeah, I think it was. But people need to know there are also several written requirements. That's why the English teacher is probably so important. Starting with a proposal, could you kind of walk us through some of these, just to give us an idea?
Sure. So the proposal, at some point, again, if it hasn't happened now, I think as students are getting towards the end of their junior year, they need to have an approved proposal that the senior project coordinator certify. Okay, that's the project that the student can pursue. So the proposal provides enough information for how they're going, what they're going to focus on, how they're going to complete the project. And if they get that approved proposal, then that's basically the check that they can continue with the project. So again, many students have done that already by the end of junior year, going into this summer and senior year. And if not, at a minimum, as soon as they come back to start next school year, that'll be the first thing that students need to focus on.
Yeah, I should say that your website has a lot of information on senior projects. And one of the other requirements, and this is one maybe you can help me with, is it's called an essential question and supporting questions.
Right.
Could you explain what those might be?
So yeah, it's pretty typical to any research process. You have to have the questions that are going to guide.
What are you trying to?
What are you trying to accomplish here? The project that you're going to hear about a little later. Again, there's an essential question that student is trying to figure out. There's usually one main question that one or two main questions, the essential questions, and then some other questions, those guiding questions that help their research and their actual project, what it is they're going to do.
Yeah, one of the neat things about this is that it's not just a research project. I mean, a lot of this is going to get very hands-on.
Yep, it's a lot of hands-on, experiential learning. It's why it's just a great. Most schools who have it really enjoy, and it becomes a community. Something for the community to really rally around as well. Between the mentors that are used, the judges that are needed for the final piece of this for the presentation.
I noted one of the other kind of written requirements was that students write down their reflections as they go through the process. How is that used, or is it just kind of for the student really to look back on?
Well, definitely it's a good thing for them to help, again, as they're going through the whole process to be able to have those moments to kind of reflect back on, and at the end of it for them to really kind of demonstrate through their presentation. So all this culminates with a presentation that the student would make at the end of senior year, and with that, they're not just presenting what it is that they did, but they're talking about how it really helped them grow as a person or as a learner. So one of the key components of the senior project, through any school that has it, is there has to be this thing called a learning stretch. So when that proposal is approved, when that project ultimately is deemed successful at the end of senior year, what that student is demonstrating is how this project that they undertook, how did it help them grow as a learner or as a person.
Yeah, so that's good feedback for the program then.
Right. Yes.
I know the other thing that I thought was interesting is you require a portfolio and a website. So the students actually create their own website?
Yeah, so one of the things I've seen this project in many different schools. I was a high school principal myself, and when I came to Portsmouth, the one thing that I told, after observing a little bit of what they have in place, what we have in place here, I told Dave and Vicky, the two coordinators, is I was really impressed with how, everything that the students do, everything that happens for this project it's all captured digitally in electronic
Yeah.
files. We use a Google platform, as many as we do in many places across the district. But really, for the senior project, the student has everything that they need. They're able to store digitally. When judges come in, whether they be community judges or whoever, they're able to access that electronic file that has all the information for the project. So it's really helpful.
Now, can students also talk to their mentors and the teachers via this Google platform, or is it just emails and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, most of that communication with the mentors and would be through email or face-to-face, kind of thing. I mean, Google does have other features separately outside of this portfolio that's kept for the project that can help you communicate.
I would imagine that people are very nervous around presentation time. When is that? Is that obviously before graduation?
Right.
But I mean,
so it's it's right before. It's usually at the end of May. It's right before. It's the last thing before senior exam. So getting ready for graduation. Seniors, obviously the last big hurdle is they have to complete their final exams to help them pass the courses that they're in, and the last thing that they do before then are these senior project presentations. There's also a couple of practice runs that they have leading up to that. Again,
and those are built into the schedule.
Those are built into the schedule, but even when they call it a dress rehearsal, it happens about halfway through the year, and even for that, I know the senior project coordinators would love to have more community judges even help out with that as they are needed for that final presentation.
So there are opportunities here for people to get involved.
Absolutely. Again, that if you go onto the school department website, click the link for Portsmouth High School, and then right on the left there's a separate senior project link. It has an abundant amount of information about senior project. There's the contact information for those two senior project coordinators, Dave Ennis and Vicki Hathaway. And again, they would welcome and love to see more community support around this, and whether it's people who would like to serve as mentors or as judges to help out with those dress rehearsals or final presentations.
Yes, and I would think this would be a great way for people to get involved in the community and really help. Really
it really is. I mean, you don't walk away from that if you can participate in that judging day. I mean, everybody I've ever talked to, you don't walk away without being impressed by what you see. Students demonstrating that.
I have to say that I think the website and the link to senior projects is very helpful in understanding what it's all about.
It is. There's a lot of good information about the projects.
It's pretty well laid out up there.
Yeah.
I kind of used that to prepare for this, and I thought I was very impressed. Just off the top of your head, do you have any senior projects since you've been here that you thought were kind of interesting?
Yep. So for the past 2 years, I've been able to participate as a judge, and or just hearing about some of the bigger projects like the mock car crash that you referenced, which was I mean, students coming to school that day didn't know that was a staged event, and it was really to bring attention to the dangers of texting and driving. This year we had a student, one of the presentations I was able to sit in on, and also had seen that work develop. This student is big in the Green Club, the environmental club, and helped produce trash stations. So as students are getting rid of their trash at lunch, one of the biggest things is they have a bottle or a can, and it's filled with something. If there's liquid in it, 9 times out of 10, student throws that in the trash because they don't want to be bothered doing
so
anything.
Trying to make
so these trash
more
stations
eco-friendly.
have the ability for the students to get rid of the liquid in a. It's collected through that station and then recycle the container. And that student is started at the high school, but is also, as part of the project, built additional stations that can be put in other schools.
Very cool, so it's useful. Tom, we're out of time, but thank you so much for coming in, and
My
I hope
pleasure.
you'll come back again and talk more about what's
Absolutely.
going on in the school department.
Great,
Thank you. Welcome back. Our guests for this segment, we have 2 guests. One is Emma Rayner, who is now a senior at Portsmouth High School. You just finished your junior year, and we're going to talk about your senior project, and your mentor for this is our own Rich Talipsky. Welcome to the show, guys.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
I know you're relatively new to Portsmouth, just having moved here recently when your dad took on the job of town administrator. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your time when your dad was in the Navy?
Okay, well, my dad's been in the Navy my whole life, so we've always moved around, like, been to tons of places. My mom's from Denmark, so we used to live there, and we've lived, we just moved from the Netherlands, and we moved here, but my whole life we've moved every few years, so now we're finally settled, and we're staying here, so.
Well, that's great. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Especially in your high school. That's kind of what I did. I was a Navy kid, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, went around. Where did you go to school when you lived in the Netherlands?
Well, I went to Asst North International School for my first 2 years of high school, so that was pretty great. There's kids from like lots of places in the world, which was cool.
Did they teach in English?
Yeah. There's an American school system. So.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that's good about Navy kids is they've traveled all over the world. Do you speak any other languages besides English?
Yeah. I speak Danish because my mom's Danish. So, and I can kind of pick up on a little German and Dutch because that's in the Netherlands where I live.
Okay. How about Spanish?
I've taken Spanish my whole life, so I'm pretty good at Spanish,
okay, well,
which will help me
good.
for my senior project.
That's good. Yeah, I think it will help. Let's talk about your project. We just heard from Tom Kenworthy about what senior projects are. Pretty important stuff, I think, for a senior. Tell us about the project that you selected.
Well, I chose to do a service project to Peru. We're working through a UK organization called Kia Survivors. So I'm bringing a group of students, like a really dedicated, like really great group of students from the school, and we're going to go. And first, we're going to go to the north, and we're going to this place called Mancora, and it's dismal. It's just a really bad place for these kids. And these kids, there's like an orphanage there, and some of these kids have special needs, and the building's actually been broken into twice already. All they have is a bamboo wall. So we're going and we're going to build a concrete wall for these kids just to give them that security that they're lacking, that they don't have.
Yeah, and this is a place that they live?
Yeah, they live there. And then we're going to go, that's the first week, building the wall. Then we're going to the south to Urubamba, which is close to where Machu Picchu is. And what we're going to be doing there, because it's also really, really poor, really desolate, like people are just living in these awful situations. They don't have water. They don't have all these luxuries that like we're so used to and accustomed to. So we're going to be building a bathroom for a family there, and it'll just completely change their lives. And
I think it'll
going to be really great.
Change your lives too, to see this stuff, to live there through that. Urubamba, I love the name.
I know, it's cool. It's taken me a while to get it right.
Yeah.
Still don't know if I have it right.
Yeah, I think going online, which I did, but Rich, you're Emma's mentor for this project. I know you have a little bit of experience with senior projects. Could you discuss that?
Sure. The senior project mentor is supposed to be an experienced guide for the student. This is actually my third time as being a mentor in the senior project. The first one was a student that was investigating wind energy, and he built a little model wind turbine, and my experience as being an electrical engineer helped me with that. The second one that I mentored was a student that was doing a video for the school band. So I helped her with my video experience. And of course, the Portsmouth This Week crew also helped Aidan O'Brien with his distracted driving project, and we helped video the crash scene. I can't say I have any experience about Peru. But this project is more of a project management experience for Emma. Once they get into country, the organization that runs this Kia Survivors program takes care of them. What her project is taking care of all the pieces that have to get together to get these students on a plane to Peru.
Sure.
There's all kinds of things, passports, background checks. Yeah. Fundraising, all those kinds of things. And I have a great experience in project management and organizational management via my experience in the Navy and as a corporate executive, and now the business development director in Portsmouth. So that's what I'm going to help her do, kind of manage all those bells and whistles and pieces to get them on the plane on time going to Peru.
Now, how big of a staff or whatever do they have down there that takes care of these
kids? For Kia Survivors? Well, in the south, I think they have about, well, they have like substitute mothers that are there that take care of the kids, and I think they have a psychologist and a psychiatrist who take care and who are there for the kids for support. Yeah. And they have people who stay there full time to.
Okay, so they're there to help you out too when you come down.
Yeah, they'll show us how to like build the bathrooms, build the walls, just get everything done.
Okay, Rich, so let me go back to the mentor for a second. So how do you do this?
Well, I'm required to spend at least 15 hours with Emma on that. And she's already sat down with me and explained her project. And I'm going to work with her on establishing what I call that critical flow path of things that have to happen. And she's got all these things that she has to do. She's already established her fundraising website. She's already talked about background checks for her team and all those kinds of things. But there are all those pieces that have to get together. And what I'm going to have Emma do is give me a list of those pieces and figure out how she's going to put them all together to work together to get everything done. It's a lot of things to do in a short period of time.
So what's your summer vacation going to be like?
A lot of work.
What is the schedule? What kind of schedule do you see in the next several months for your project?
Well, we plan to leave August 17th and go to the 30th, so I need to start, really face my fundraising head on and just get money in. So soon, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have everybody's passports sent in to the coordinator.
For visas?
Yeah, and I just have to get money in for down payments so we can start booking the hotel when we get there. Well, it's not a hotel, it's accommodation, but they need money. And then booking like internal flights when we go from the north to the south. So I have to start bringing in money as fast as possible.
Okay, so a key thing, you've already got your group of students. The key thing next is fundraising.
Fundraising, yeah.
And I know you go into a GoFundMe account. Could you explain that? That's really kind of cool. And how much do you need to raise, do you think?
Well, right now we're looking at about 40,000.
Wow.
A lot, yeah. So I'm really hoping to get the community involved, and just because it's a really great project, and I'm bringing a really great group of like local kids who all they're really driven. They all have great hearts. They're all ready to work hard. So I'm looking, at about $40,000.
40,000. Well, the thing is, this stuff works. You've had this up for what, a day or two?
Yeah, I've had it up for 2 days, and we're already at 650, which is small compared to 40,000, but just for the first couple days. Yeah, it's a first step. I'm hopeful we can make it. And
yeah, that's great. We'll see what we can do to help. People can see the link, the web page for the GoFundMe account, and it's certainly a worthwhile project.
Yeah, we named it Portsmouth for Peru, so it's all about
Portsmouth for Peru.
Portsmouth for Peru.
That's
it's all
great.
about Portsmouth, making a difference in Peru.
You know what I'm thinking? If you guys could take some videos while you're down there, we could put together a program when you get back.
That'd be awesome.
You probably, is that one of the requirements anyway, to give sort of a, this is what we did kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we need
so maybe
presentation,
we
the
can help
final
with
product, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, we helped Aidan O'Brien with doing a little 1-minute movie trailer to advertise his project. We could do the same thing for
Welcome
Emma.
to the world of media here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your core group. Is it too late to get other kids, or are you pretty much committed to that group you have now?
Well, we're pretty committed to the group we have now, and like I said, we've got some really good students already involved. The only problem, I would love to bring more people, but then the costs just drive up,
keeps going
and
up.
we're just in such a tight time frame already that it's not likely that more students would be able to feasibly fit into the budget.
So what do you think the most challenging part of this project? Probably the fundraising, I would guess.
Yeah, most definitely fundraising.
It just sounds like a daunting amount of money, but I think.
But I'm hopeful that people get involved.
Yeah, I think so. I think particularly when they find out what this is all about. I should mention, when you go on that website for Kia Survivors, there's a great little 5-minute video that we may be able to show at some point. It's on YouTube, and it tells you what this thing is all about. And I would like people to take a look at that, and then go to your GoFundMe site and throw some money at you. That'd be great.
I'd love that.
So it all comes down to a presentation, essentially next spring, right, just before you graduate, as Tom Kenworthy just told us. Rich, I know you've been a judge of several senior projects. How does the judging work, and what are some of the things that go into making a great presentation?
Well, the final presentation is sort of a culmination and it's kind of a final exam of the project. And I've judged over 15 senior projects, and I would encourage anybody in the community to contact the senior project coordinator, because it's a great experience. And it's really the time when the student has to present their project in the end. And the judges are given a little evaluation sheet where they evaluate the student on their delivery, their organization, their use of the media, and actually the time of the presentation. And they're judged by various standards that either they have exceeded the standard, met the standard, nearly met the standard, or not met the standard. So any student that does not meet the standard on any of those particular items, including making sure your presentation is exactly between 12 and 15 minutes.
I was going to say, it's very explicit, yeah.
You kind of don't meet that criteria. Nobody really fails their presentation, but they have to go back and get some upgrading and actually do their project again. So they have to keep doing it till they get it to meet all those standards.
Yeah.
I can give some kind of things that the judges look for.
Please.
Yeah. A couple...
Emma, you're listening, right?
Yeah, these are very important. One time we had a girl that did a project in the Philippines, and she brought lumpia for all the judges.
Hey, cool.
You know, and that kind of helped.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. And the best thing was the student that did a project on lobstering, and he brought all the judges lobster rolls.
See, it all revolves around food.
So I
there's a
can't
clue
say
there.
that did not affect our judging.
Yeah, right. Are there any really bad things that must be avoided? Going over time or
Going over time is a deal breaker. Another thing is not practicing enough. They're given all these time for practicing, and I can't overemphasize, getting in front of people and practicing your presentation. And I call it a murder board, where it's an uneasy situation, but the people who do that are far and above the other presenters.
Yeah. Now, Emma, just to be clear, on this group of kids, they're all doing this project. So do they all have to make the presentation?
No, it's just my senior project.
it's
They'll
just
all
yours.
have their own senior projects.
Okay, they're going down with you to get involved.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how great these kids are that they're
Well, that's good,
participating
but
in my
I
project.
think we have a lot of people with good hearts in Portsmouth. And,
Yeah,
I think it's really
definitely.
great. So people that are interested in judging and or being a mentor, we need to go back to that, should go to the website, sign up, talk to somebody. Emma, if somebody wants to find out more about your project, how can they either reach you, or how do they, do you have a website up yet, for example, for your?
Well, I have the GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe outlines everything I'm going to be doing and everything we'll be doing and what the project's really about. And then I'm making a Facebook page today, which will also be called Portsmouth for Peru, just like the GoFundMe is.
Okay, good. So we should find that and friend it.
Yes.
And then we can get it out to everybody too.
It'll be up today.
Yeah. Well, listen, hey, thanks very much for coming in, and I hope you'll continue to come back as this thing progresses, and I'm particularly hopeful you'll come back after your experience and tell us how it was.
I'd love to.
Okay. Thanks very much for both of you coming in today. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, my name's Emma Rayner, and for my senior project, I'm doing a service trip to Peru. If you'd like to know more, please visit my GoFundMe.